Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the second part of the Subliminal Messages Iceberg. Now, I know it's been quite some time since I've been here in general. It's been 4 months about since I posted my last video on the channel, and I apologize for that, sincerely. It's been more time consuming transitioning from high school to a full-time job than I thought it would be, and I haven't had all the free time in the world to make videos for you guys, but I really do enjoy it, and I'm really glad to be back. But that's enough, heartfelt shenanigans. Let's get into the video. Starting off on tier 3, we have SFX Magazine. On the majority of covers released by SFX Magazine, the bottom portion of the F is cut off to create the illusion that the magazine cover says sex instead of SFX. But why would SFX do this to their magazine cover? Well, it's a proven fact that sex sells. Even if SFX magazines don't contain 18+ content, the word sex in big lettering will catch the eye of many consumers, thereby persuading them to buy the product. Next up on the list, we have Jessica Rabbit genitals. Oh boy. In the Disney film Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Jessica Rabbit can be seen flashing the viewers in 4 perfectly paused frames throughout the film. Now, if you buy this film on DVD or watch it online, chances are you'll see the edited version where Jessica's animated vagina has been taken out. However, if you watch this film in theaters or on VHS when it first came out, you can see her fully animated vagina. Why would you have that? It's a children's film. Why would you just have that in there, even if it is just like a little Easter egg? Who's the Easter egg for? Jessica Rabbit is one of Disney's most sexualized characters ever created, and Disney has become notorious for sprinkling sexual subliminal messages throughout their films. So many believe that this is another attempt by Disney to indoctrinate sexual thoughts into viewers at a young age. Next up on the list, we have Silence of the Lambs poster. On the movie poster for the film The Silence of the Lambs, Clarice's face can be seen with her mouth covered by a skull hawk moth. Her face is a pale white to portray the innocence of this character. However, the red, piercing eyes show that this character could potentially be dangerous. The moth covering her mouth could possibly symbolize that the character's words are muffled or meaningless, either because those around them do not listen to what they have to say, or because their privilege to speak has been taken from them. And finally, the skull on the moth's head symbolizes the potential for danger or death, which fits perfectly into the thriller genre of this film. Next up on the list, we have James Sunderland looking to the player. In the game Silent Hill 2, during one of the intro sequences, James Sunderland is seen looking into a mirror. Initially, James looks to be staring at himself in the mirror, but the dark lighting of the scene makes it impossible to determine the direction of his eyes. Turns out that if you crank up the brightness on this scene, James is seen looking dead into the camera, or the perspective of the player. And since this game was released in 2001, nobody had any idea that he's been looking at us this whole time. Yvonne et Nuage, or Join the Navy Backwards, is referring to a Simpsons episode which aired on February 25th, 2001. The episode was the 14th episode of the 12th season and consisted of Bart, Nelson, Ralph, and Milhouse getting recruited into a boy band called the Party Posse. In the episode, the boys star in a music video for Drop the Bomb, a pop song that seems to encourage heroic bombing of hostile Arab countries. The chorus of this song is Yvonne et Nuage, which is Join the Navy Backwards, and it turns out that the boy band is a secret project by the US Navy to boost recruitment numbers through subliminal messages. Next up on the list, we have The Exorcist of Captain Howdy. In the 1973 film The Exorcist, a white demon who looks like this briefly flashes on screen at 45 minutes and 1 second into the film during a dream sequence featuring Father Karras, or Karras, who is the priest charged with exorcising malevolent spirits from Reagan's body. Reagan is the main character, if you need a refresher. There are actually multiple occasions across different releases of the film where this circumstance occurs. In an extended cut of the film titled The Version You've Never Seen, the face materializes twice. Once at 35 minutes and 29 seconds in, when Reagan is undergoing a medical examination, and again at 56 minutes and 3 seconds in. The face was part of director William Friedkin's got it, strategy to unnerve moviegoers using both visuals and sounds that he felt stood the best chance of creating an uneasy atmosphere. The face was intended to represent Captain Howdy, or Pazuzu, who is the demon inhabiting Reagan's body. And this white demon only appears for roughly an eighth of a second each time it materializes on screen. The Beatles' Revolution 9 Turn Me On Dead Man is referring to the theory that if you play Revolution 9 by the Beatles backwards, the phrase "Turn Me On Dead Man" can be heard. The true meaning as to why this phrase is hidden in this track is still a mystery to this day, and many speculators refuse to believe that it is simply a coincidence. Next up on the list, we have headcrab noises backwards. Headcrabs are the most basic and common enemy of the video game series Half-Life, and although they are disturbing and unsettling as is, they can replace the heads of many humans, thereby turning them into headcrab zombies. Now, if you play the already horrific screams of these zombies backwards, you can hear the phrase, "Help, God, help, help me." Here's a clip. Next up on the list, we have Monsters, Inc. Uncle Roger. This entry is referring to the hidden sex scene drawing in the popular Disney film Monsters, Inc. A drawing that depicts a so-called Uncle Roger participating in a sexual act with a so-called mommy can be seen when Sully enters Boo's room. Now, I believe this scene has been debunked as a hoax, but before that, many believed it was an attempt by Disney to indoctrinate the thought of sex into impressionable minds at a young age. Now we're moving on from Tier 3 down to Tier 4. First up on the list, we have Coca-Cola in Lord of the Rings. During the film The Fellowship of the Ring, when the One Ring, which is the ring the entire series is based around, is held up to the camera, the word Coca-Cola can be seen engraved into it. Now, I have no idea whether or not this is intentional advertising by Coca-Cola and there was some sort of partnership going on with Lord of the Rings, but if this was, they deserve a round of applause. That is a very good spot to market your product. Next up on the list, we have slow-paced music in supermarkets. This entry is referring to the theory that supermarkets play slower music so that shoppers move at a slower pace and take more time to interact with the products. In fact, an experiment that was conducted at a supermarket found on days where slower background music was played, average sale volumes increased by 38%. I mean, it would make sense, right? If you have upbeat music or Slipknot or something going on in the background, obviously you're going to want to hustle through the supermarket and get to the line come on guys, let's keep it moving, I feel pumped. But if you have nice, slow, monotonous tunes going on, obviously you're going to take your time. Right? Next up on the list, we have Marlboro's F1 code. Although the Marlboro logo doesn't appear anywhere on the F1 team it sponsors due to the implementation of a no tobacco ad rule, the F1 cars still sport a funky barcode which doctors say violates the ban because it subliminally promotes smoking and the use of tobacco products. I don't know how a funky barcode makes you want to smoke a cigarette, but look at this! That's pretty, or over here, wherever our editing version of me later, within an hour, puts it. Maybe this side? Whichever side has more space. You're going to see a funky barcode on the back of a car. Doesn't make you want to smoke a cigarette? Am I promoting you to smoke a cigarette? Maybe. Next up on the list, we have Hungry, Eat Popcorn. Hungry? Eat popcorn. You want food? I need some popcorn! The birth of subliminal advertising as we know it dates to 1957 when a market researcher named James Vicary inserted the words "eat popcorn and drink Coca-Cola" into a movie. The words appeared for a single frame, allegedly long enough for the subconscious to pick it up, but too short for the viewer to be aware of it. These subliminal ads supposedly created an 18.1% increase in Coke sales and a 57.8% increase in popcorn sales. Now, I'm pretty sure that these increases, these percentages, the 18.1% in Coke sales and the 57.8% in popcorn sales, were publicized by James Vicary himself, who is the person who put it in the movie himself in the first place. So obviously he would want it to do good, because then everybody would be like, whoa, well, this guy knows how to make extra money. Subliminal advertising is the thing to do. So I don't know how accurate these numbers are. Lots of people question how accurate these numbers are, whether or not they're from a viable source or not. So just take those with a grain of salt. The Departed X's is referring to the movie The Departed, where X's appear throughout the film as an indirect anticipation of some characters' deaths. Next up on the list, we have Kirby Dream Land 2, Naked Lady. In level 5 of Red Canyon in Kirby's Dream Land 2, the secret area of the level is commonly interpreted to be a crude drawing of a naked woman, with the top part being the face and the middle section being the breasts. And this interpretation is still yet to be confirmed or denied by Nintendo. Could have some dirty people working at Nintendo. Could just be a bunch of sweet people. I mean, you can't really deny that this doesn't look a little sussy baka. Next up on the list, we have Another One Bites the Dust, Start to Smoke Marijuana. This entry is referring to the theory that when you play the song Another One Bites the Dust by Queen, great song by the way, backwards, the phrase Start to Smoke Marijuana can be heard multiple times throughout the song. Next up on the list, we have Bush against Gore, Rats. When George Bush and Al Gore were running for president in the year 2000, a campaign ad was released by Bush which displayed the word rats in large capital letters for a split second before the word bureaucrats appeared. Now, although many thought this was an attempt of subliminal hostility by Bush towards Al Gore, Bush denied all accusations and said that these claims were, quote, bizarre and weird. Next up on the list, we have Racist Intel ad. The ad, which was captioned, quote, multiply computing performance and maximize the power of your employees, portrayed a white manager standing among 6 bowed black men and was meant to, quote, convey the performance capabilities of our processors through the visual metaphor of a sprinter. This ad received a large amount of backlash when it was released because many saw a white overlord standing over subservient black men who were bowing at his feet. I mean, look at this ad. The CEO of these companies has to okay this, right? When these ads go out. So if somebody just showed him this, the advertising team showed him this, and he's like, oh yeah, this is the one, guys. This is gonna make us sell our computer processors. Next up on the list, we have Hooker in Toy Story. You guys all remember Sid, right? The kid with a shaved head who wore a black skull t-shirt and just loved to mash toys together to see what kind of creations he can make. It was like a form of art, if you call that art. But this entry is referring to one of Sid's abominations, which is a toy fishing rod that stands on 2 plastic Barbie legs. Now, the reason many think this resembles a hooker is because of what the combination of these 2 toys implies. The hook of the fishing rod and I guess some sexy Barbie legs maybe makes people think like, oh man, this is a children's show, can't have any like fishing rod ladies around here, like that's too much. Madman 666 is referring to a giant 666 which can be seen on a neighboring building outside a window in one of the episodes of the TV show Mad Men. Now, although 666 is a number that obviously contains mischievous and devilish undertones, many believe that the inclusion of this in the show was not with bad intentions, but rather for setting accuracy, because 666 Madison Avenue is a real and well-known address in New York City, and that's where this show takes place. But anyways, guys, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for sticking around. Be expecting more videos from me soon. I'm really excited to be back. It brings me a lot of happiness making videos for you guys. But anyways, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.